So when following cube notation, it's important to remember that the centers are fixed and you do not rotate the cube unnecessarily. There are rotations for a reason, but that's advanced notation. And we're going to start off with the basic notation. So if you are following a scramble, you need to hold white top, green front. If you're just following an algorithm, then you just need to do it from wherever the algorithm notation or guide tells you to do the algorithm from. But for this guide on notation, we're going to stick with white top and green front, unless a rotation tells us to move it. So we're going to start off with R, which refers to a turn of the right side of the cube. And if it were facing you, so every notation, if it's just the letter, refers to if it were facing you, it would be a clockwise turn, at least for the basic notations. So if the R side were facing you, clockwise would be like this. So when it's not facing you, it is like this, R up. So R refers to turning right face up, and R prime refers to turning the right face down. You'll also sometimes see R2, which means you turn the right face twice. Occasionally, you'll also see R2 prime, which just refers to turning the right face down twice because it's easier to finger it. Obviously, if you were to do it the other way, it would make no difference, except it would probably take longer to turn if you're turning it fast. The other side, we have L. L refers to a clockwise turn of the left face, but clockwise turn would appear to be down from your front reference point. So L means left face down, and L prime means left face up. L2, left face down twice, L2 prime, left face up twice. Pretty simple so far. Okay, so now we have U, and U refers to the up or top face. For some reason, cubers have settled with U instead of T, but whatever. So we have U, which is a clockwise turn of the top face, like that. And then we also have U prime, which is an anti-clockwise turn of the top face, like that. So you could say U is turning the top face to the left, and U prime is turning the top face to the right. U2, of course, is turning the top face twice, and U2 prime is turning the top face twice the other way. Then we have D. So D is the bottom face, and if it were facing you, this would be clockwise. So this is D, and this is D prime. This is D2, and this is D2 prime. Then we also have F, and it's worth mentioning that D and B moves are the ones people get most confused about, so just remember that it is the opposite of U. D, that is U, that is D, and I'll show the same thing with F and B soon. So F refers to a clockwise turn of the front face, like that, and F prime refers to an anti-clockwise turn of the front face. This should be the most obvious because it's facing you. So front F prime is like that, F2 is like that, F2 prime is like that. Then we have B. This is the one people get most confused about, because if it were facing you, a clockwise turn would be the opposite to an on the front. So B is opposite of F from your reference point, and B prime is the same as F. So B, B prime, B2, B2 prime. So that's all for the 12 basic, well, it's more than 12, isn't it now? That's all for the basic notation. Then we get on to some more advanced stuff involving multiple slices and rotations and just middle slices. So now we get on to some more advanced notation, but it is useful for various parallel algorithms such as the H-perm, which does involve M slices. There are also some much rarer things involving E slices and S slices, but if you ever learn how to solve a 3x3 blindfolded quickly, you'll need stuff like that. Not that I can solve a 3x3 blindfolded quickly, I can do it blindfolded, but that's besides the point. Right, so we have M, which refers to a turn of the middle slice, and this follows L for some reason. I don't think there's any like official reason for this, it's just what cubers have gone with. So M is a turn of the middle slice down, and M prime is a turn of the middle slice up. Everything else stays in the same place, so you could argue this is, well, L prime, R, and a rotation. But we don't do that. M, and then M prime, M2, M2 prime, and yep, that is the middle slice. Then we have the equitorial slice, which is E, and this follows D, so we have E, which goes like this, and then we have E prime, which goes like this. Obviously E2, E2 prime, whatever, it's very rarely used anyway. Then we have S, which follows the F slice, so we have S like that, and S prime like that. Again, it's very rarely used, but it's worth knowing just in case. S2, of course, S2 prime. So that's all for middle slice notation. Then we also have wide turns, and this is represented by a lowercase letter. So instead of an uppercase R, you have a lowercase r, and that means you turn the two right layers, so essentially R and M. So R is, well, lowercase r is these two layers, and the L layer remains in place. So the centers are moving, but just be careful to make sure everything stays in place. It's a lot easier to go wrong when you're turning two layers at the same time. But these are used in some OLL algorithms, so it's worth knowing. And then obviously wide R prime, wide R2, wide R2 prime. Yep, that's the lowercase r. And then the same thing, lowercase l, just two leftmost layers, lowercase l prime, lowercase l2, lowercase l2 prime. Then we have lowercase u, lowercase u prime, lowercase u2, lowercase u2 prime, lowercase d prime, lowercase d2, lowercase d2 prime, lowercase f, f and s, lowercase f prime, lowercase f2, lowercase f2 prime, and the same thing, lowercase b prime, lowercase b2, lowercase b2 prime. It's easy to go wrong, so you should be careful with these wide turns, but ultimately it is just doing the same thing as one uppercase turn, but you do it with the other layer next to it as well, like that. So rotations can also be quite confusing, but it's worth learning. It's very common in reconstructions and in some algorithms as well, such as the eperm, where you essentially have to do an X move like that, X prime. Or you could just do a wide L move instead of the X prime R, for example. So, X refers to a turn of the whole cube following R. So whatever is on the front is moved to the top. This could also be put as R, M prime, L prime, but that's a bit pointless. So we refer to it as X, meaning the whole cube rotates. So front goes to the top, like that. Obviously X prime is the opposite of that. Whatever is on the top moves to the front, like that. X2, whatever's on the bottom goes to the top, like that. Then we have Y, and Y refers to a turn following U. So we move whatever is on the front face to, well, whatever is on the right face becomes the front face, like that. This could also be notated as U, E prime, D prime, but again, that is rather pointless. Obviously, Y prime refers to whatever is on the left being moved to whatever is on the front, like that. Then we have Z, and Z is a turn of the whole cube following F. So the front face remains fixed, and whatever is on the top moves to the right, like that. And then Z prime is whatever is on the right moves to the top, like that. Z could also be notated as F, S, B prime. But again, that would be pointless. So that should be all the notation you need to follow pretty much whatever 3x3 algorithm you find pretty much anywhere online. So, yep, thanks for watching, and if you have any suggestions for other tutorials that would be useful, please let me know.